Today's show is sponsored by the ABV Barrel Shop. The ABV Barrel Shop is located in the St. Louis metro community of Arnold, Missouri. The ABV Barrel Shop is focused on one thing: single barrels. Best of all, you can try before you buy. Head over to abvbarrelshop.com to sign up for their email and text distribution so you know what they have in stock, what classes are coming up, and who from the industry may be coming in to visit. The ABV Barrel Shop. It's where single barrels live. We are also sponsored by the Bar to Go. The Bar to Go offers traveling minibars that are no bigger than a small purse or toiletry bag. Best of all, they are fully customizable so you can create the perfect piece that is unique for you. If you own your own business, what a fun and unique way to promote what you do. Check them out online at thebar2go.com. That is the number 2 in the Bar to Go. If you have wholesale questions, call my friend Isabel Clark at 504-481-1297. Finally, we are sponsored by the Neely Family Distillery. NFD is a family-owned business that keeps ringing up awards in the spirits world. Head to Sparta, Kentucky to experience the family history, award-winning spirits, and meet the Neely family. Check them out online at neelyfamilydistillery.com. Now, on to the show.
Let's drink!
Welcome to the Bourbon Daily, the podcast about everything bourbon delivered to you every day of the week. Today on the show, we talk with Wiehebrink about what's new when it comes to barrels. My name is Miss Beka Sue. Please join me welcoming my co-host Steve Akeley, as well as our special guests, Andrew Wiehebrink, Jenn Fredericks, and Luke Cotero.
Hey gang, what's up?
Hey everybody.
Hello.
Hey, so yeah, we've got an expert in the house here, and we're going to be talking a little bit about barrels. If anybody who thinks the barrel's just the receptacle that holds the bourbon while it ages, they're very wrong. There's a lot to it, and Andrew will be talking about that after the break. For right now, though, Luke said there's something he wanted to talk about. What is that, sir?
Yeah, so I did not get to go to the Kentucky Bourbon Festival this year, but I think all of you who are on the show tonight did get to go. And out of curiosity, just real quick, if you can give me the highlight of your favorite thing and probably one not so good thing during your time that you were there. So I anxious to hear.
I go first.
Okay.
Low light, there was no parking this year.
Yeah.
Like there was nowhere to park. There's a bunch of construction happening right next to the Bourbon Festival. And so there was no parking. I had to walk about 15 minutes down the road just to get to the truck. I was like, that's crazy. And then the 2 days later, I parked right by Denny Potter's house. But the first 2 days, I was like, wow, this is a little crazy because there's no parking. Highlight, though, for me was the Potter Jane booth. That was a blast over there. They had little mini beers because they don't have anything to really give out. They were selling their white dog. You could taste their white dog. And so for a quote unquote cocktail, they were doing a Boilermaker, really. I think that's what that would be, right? A beer and a shot. And so that was their cocktail. I know that some people weren't too happy about that, but
Right.
But it was great. And honestly, it was like just really chill and like my favorite spot to go over and like, listen, I understand it's a bourbon festival, but it was really nice to walk over and grab a Miller High Life or whichever it was and like cool
Right.
off with just a beer and walk around. And also like other than Sunday, I got toasted on Sunday. But the other days I was driving, but I still wanted to have like something to drink. And so it was nice to like not just be like with bourbon. I was like, oh cool, I can have a beer and I'll be fine. And they're just the mini beers, and it was like just a cool vibe over there. Like the entire thing was great, and the white dog was fantastic. And yeah, Potter Jane's booth that's one of my favorite things.
You know, as a member of the board of directors for that festival, I couldn't agree more with Beka, because I mean, you go to a bourbon bar, you can get a beer.
Right.
You go to, I mean, you drink beer with, I mean,
All the time.
and it's all, you know, we actually got really lucky this year with weather.
Yeah,
You know,
we did.
the last couple of years have been just like sweltering, and maybe I'm just maybe it's just me on this one. I don't know. Bourbon's just neat. It's really hard for me to drink when it's just 90 something degrees outside.
Right.
So yeah, I am a proponent of, something other than bourbon.
It was nice.
Yeah, at the festival.
It was really nice to have a little beer and walk around.
It's great. Actually, we went Friday. Chad and I went Friday, and I think I may have had one sip of bourbon, and then the rest was just those little pony beers. Yeah, it is great.
It was also like kind of a little hub for a lot of like industry people at their tent.
Right.
Almost. Like there was obviously other people there too, but like you'd find a lot of other like industry people were like right at that tent because I think they also felt the same way. They're like, oh, a beer just sounds so nice right now.
Right. Because industry people aren't, hey, I got to try 50 bourbons while I'm here. That you're like, yeah, I'm more into the refreshing and cooling down a little bit. And a beer was nice. It was done easy. So yeah, that was cool.
It looked fun too. Like they had it set up like the Griswolds or something, like family vacation.
It was exactly that.
It looked very fun.
Yeah.
It was a blast over there. I think me and Steve walked over and got beers, and me and Nate walked over and got beers quite a few times.
Yeah. I enjoy the thing that I enjoy the most was seeing people, and that's people from the bourbon industry as well as people that listen to the show. I mean, there's several of them. Beck and I were hanging out, came up to us and stuff like that. Just enjoy listening. That always feels good. It really does. So people who enjoy the programming that you create, that's awesome. Downside, there wasn't really any negatives. I mean, other than the parking situation, that was horrible. There was long walks and stuff like that. And that wasn't a whole
Steve
lot
complains as though he actually had to walk all the way down. I walked down and got the truck and came and picked up him and Royce.
I'm 57.
Steve never had to walk anywhere.
I had to walk all the way from there to the fire department or whatever it is there. I had to walk that distance. That was enough for me. I'm 57. That's We'll check back in with Becca when she's 57 and see if she wants to walk that long. So yeah. I was like a pack mule with all kinds of bottles I bought too. So yeah, I was loaded down.
I thought the booths this year were crazy. That Angel's Envy booth.
That was insane. That was just a store there. I mean,
yeah, that was a legit building.
That's bigger than the ABV Barrel Shop.
It was.
Yeah.
And then Limestone Branch, they literally built a deck.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Or I guess
into a hill,
whatever. But like they literally built a whole deck there. That was the other highlight, was going over there and getting that espresso martini cocktail, and then Steve would go and make it for us, Steve Beam, which was really cool. And he would go and he'd do the espresso, then they have a pecan cream and he put some of that in there. And that was a good start to the morning. It was one of those.
Yeah.
This was my first year actually doing a presentation at the Bourbon Festival.
Oh,
okay.
How'd that go?
Did you do one with Pat 1 year? With Wilderness Trail?
Is that at the Bourbon Festival?
Yes. Yes. It was 2021.
Was it? I thought that was Bourbon and Beyond.
No, it was the Bourbon Festival.
Bourbon Festival.
I remember I was there.
Okay, I did my second presentation.
Jen, I know how you feel. He had a topic he wanted to talk about. He's like, I don't know this. What are you doing?
There's a pattern developing here.
Right. Yeah. So, anything else from the festival? The highlights, lowlights? Anything?
I mean, overall, I thought it was good. I thought it felt a little bit different this year, which is great. Those festivals, especially that one, because it's a small footprint, and to innovate at those festivals is a lot more difficult to innovate at something like Bourbon and Beyond.
Right.
To innovate at Bourbon Beyond, all you got to have is just different music.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, we try really hard to.
One thing I'll throw out there, because I post some pictures and then some video and stuff like that from the grounds of the festival, and most of the commenters are on too crowded, no thank you. I never felt crowded in there, and I don't like big crowds either. I'm not a guy who likes going to the festivals and things like that. And yes, there were a lot of people there, but they're not under your foot. There's plenty of room to move around, and I never felt like it was they oversold the tickets or anything.
No, well, we purposely undersell them by about half of what the capacity is.
Yeah.
For that reason, because the festival's a nonprofit.
Right.
So we don't have to worry about that.
Right.
But I mean, I'll tell you though, there were some lines for whiskey that seemed maybe a little bit longer, but as far as like actual, getting around, I didn't think it was that crowded.
I never thought it was that bad, really. It wasn't until I posted the video, and then people were like, way, way too crowded. Forget it. No way. I'm like, it wasn't that bad. So, we'll see. All right. On that note, it is time to drink. What is everyone drinking? I think Jen loaded up, so I think she's good this time. What do you got there? We're letting you go first.
All right. Well, Andrew gave me this bottle.
Okay. What do you got there?
So,
I can't see it. It's blurry.
Oh, all right. Well, it's
Midwest
Star Hill Farm.
Oh, Star Hill Farm. Okay.
Yep.
Wow. He's trying to win the cork pop. He already popped that one. Yeah. I know what he's doing.
All right. Let's see if I can win this challenge.
Okay. All right. Decent.
Not great. Yeah, not great.
Might kind of cut out too a little bit, but we got something there. You've got the lead. We'll let Wiehebrink himself go next.
I've got a bottle of Old Forester 1910 from the fine folks over at Dream Ranch in Alabama. Shout out to Kyle and Claire for sending this over.
Nothing. Jen,
nothing. Are you kidding? I
didn't hear anything.
I didn't hear anything either.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Here we go. There's the acting. All right. Beka's next. Or it looks like she's still opening hers up. So we'll let you go next.
I'm going to pull out a single barrel that we did at Stoneface for Hidden Barn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Well, that's our lead. I've got Booker's the tag-along batch. Booker's tag-along batch. Let's see what we got here. I think Luke's got more pop to it. So
I didn't hear anything.
Yes, you did. You totally heard that. I saw you recoil. It was so loud. You were like, "Whoa, ouch, my ears." All right, but Luke has the lead. Beka's last but not least. So, what do you got there, Beka?
I've got some Penelope American whiskey. It says Cigar Sessions on it, so I don't know if this is cigar batch or Cigar Sessions, Chapter 1.
Chapter 1. Okay.
Whoa!
That was pretty good.
That was good.
That was good.
That was solid. So, cheers to Beka. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right. We'll take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to be talking barrel science. We'll do that in just a few. Okay, let's talk about the people that make these shows happen. First up is the Stave and Thief Society. Via their in-person class at Moonshine University in Louisville, Kentucky, the Stave and Thief Society is the place where you, a bourbon enthusiast, can expand your knowledge and emerge an executive bourbon steward. In 2017, I completed my executive bourbon steward certification. It's the most comprehensive bourbon certification available and connects you with an expansive network of bourbon enthusiasts and professionals. Check out the full listing of in-person and online certifications and join the society today by enrolling at staveandthief.com. Speaking of executive bourbon steward certification, the ABV Barrel Shop in St. Louis, Missouri has developed a unique partnership with the Stave and Thief Society to offer a preparatory class to assist you in getting your executive bourbon steward certification. This prep class costs only $25 and is available to take live or online via Zoom. Graduates of our class receive a coupon code good for 15% off your executive bourbon steward certification held in Louisville, Kentucky. This saves you almost $90. Additionally, you can collaborate with fellow attendees to split travel costs when you go to Louisville. If you're interested in signing up for the class, simply head over to abvbarrelshop.com and check out the classes and events page. Last but not least, we are sponsored by Neely Family Distillery. Royce Neely is the 11th generation distiller in one of America's oldest distilling families. A visit to Neely Family Distillery takes you through family history, where you can see all the artifacts and newspaper clippings through the years from this family that started distilling in America after James Neely arrived from Northern Ireland in 1740. Today, Royce Neely and his team are crafting some of the best spirits in America. Their bourbon and absinthe offerings keep winning top honors in spirits competitions. Recently, their absinthe made history as the first platinum winner in the absinthe category at the San Francisco Spirits Competition. Neely Family Distillery is definitely a bucket list destination if you are a bourbon fan. Learn more about their spirit offerings, visiting their facility, and the awards they have collected over at NeelyFamilyDistillery.com. And now, back to the show.
This is Freddie Mills, and you're listening to the Bourbon Daily.
Welcome back to the Bourbon Daily. Today we're talking with Andrew Wiehebrink about barrel science.
Yes, we are. So, barrel science, it is amazing the amount of work that goes into, barrels and research and experiments. And I know, Wiehebrink, you're doing all kinds of things like that, both at your facility and out at distilleries, all kinds of stuff you got. So, and again, we don't want you to get in trouble. We want you to share what would be some, information you can share and what kind of things are going on that we need to be on the lookout for.
Well, we've done, I think to this point, we have got, I want to say close to probably 6,000 or 7,000 experimental barrels under our belts.
Mm-hmm.
Those are experiments that have been, kind of completed already. And, we're still putting out more,
Okay.
quite a bit more. But, it's the dynamics of the experiments have changed a little bit. So, when I first started in this role, we were looking at things, very basic things, char level,
Right.
different wood species, that kind of thing. Now we're kind of looking a little bit outside the barrel and trying to understand how different, external factors, play a hand in maturation. So we're doing climate experiments. We're doing different warehousing experiments. We're looking at some alternative wood species, other than oak, because it turns out there's a lot of really, really good flavors out there that, oak just simply can't provide. It doesn't have the oils, doesn't have the resins, doesn't have the capability. But I think one of the more promising things that we're looking at is maturation prediction and modeling.
Okay.
And so we are, kind of in the background working to develop these computer models that can help predict flavor outcomes when it comes to barrels in different maturation settings, which has been really fascinating because the biggest part of that is collecting the necessary data to get enough of a base to write, the programs that govern these models. And so, we've got a lot of new experiments working where we're putting temperature and humidity sensors, ethanol sensors in different kinds of warehouses, different structures, and it's really been fascinating to kind of see, I mean, we all know that there's differences. You've heard those stories forever, and I'm sure you guys have. It's like, oh, this warehouse is up on a hill and it's facing, the north and this and that, and it's got
Right.
a gable or a monitor style or something like that. And, we all expect that there's going to be differences, but it's been really kind of fascinating seeing a lot of the differences show up, in the data and
Right.
then running the regressions against the GC analysis to see how it's affecting flavor.
Yeah.
So again, as far as like barrel design goes, I mean, we're always on the lookout for, a new kind of barrel, something really, really different. We're developing specialized Scotch barrels for the Scotch whiskey industry. We're continuing our research into smoked barrels, what other kind of materials are out there that could put off some good flavors. So there is some barrel design stuff going on, but in my opinion, the most interesting stuff is more centered around understanding of maturation as opposed to actual designing a new barrel. I don't know if does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Andrew, when would that science be applicable for the industry to start utilizing?
I think from a certain aspect, it kind of is. I mean, there are some guys out there that do have barrel sensors on the market that like pick up this data. And so from that aspect, there's kind of the front part of this technology, but kind of the back half is actually, what do you do with that data? getting all that data, that baseline, and actually running through the algorithms and spitting out, aldehyde production, acid production, evaporation, prediction, proof prediction, that kind of thing. So, I think there's a few companies out there where you can start ordering barrel sensors. They're kind of expensive. I mean, $35 a sensor. I don't know anybody who'd put that on all their barrels, but again, right now we're just kind of in the data collection phase. We understand that this is possible to do. We've run some preliminary tests, and we've gotten really good results. So it's kind of a data collection thing right now.
Right. I got a couple questions for you that relate to what you do. So obviously you can only do so much where you're at in the research center. So you're doing experiments at, at distilleries that are active distilleries. You come up with an idea for an experiment. Do you have to like purchase the bourbon and then it ages in their warehouse, or are they like your partner in the research? You're like, oh, if you donate me the bourbon, I've got the special barrel I want to try. How does that work? If you can talk about that. If you can't, and again, I don't want to get you in trouble.
No. It usually works, one of a few ways. I mean, if we're trying to study a certain aspect of maturation, it sometimes works out to where, the distillery's big enough that they've got the whiskey on hand that we need to study. So they are sometimes kind enough to just send us the whiskey, and then we put it through our analytical program.
Right.
But as far as like an actual barrel experiment goes, like, hey, we want to study. What's one of the recent ones we did? We seasoned oak in like 5 different parts of the country.
Okay.
For those of you who don't know what seasoning is, when we cut down the tree, we process it into staves. We'll let those staves sit on a yard for, I don't know, 3 to 6 months or 24 months or whatever the customer wants. And so we decided to, season some barrels for a year, 5 different parts of the country. Make barrels out of them and put those in. And so, in that case, what we'll do is we'll give the barrels to the distiller for free.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get like up to 4% of each barrel back on a predetermined sampling basis.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I've got a couple questions just about, and this would be more Andrew, the bourbon fan, that is involved in it, has a really cool job that gets to see some things that others don't. Over time, we've seen different woods kind of come into, that become popular in the bourbon industry, Mizunara oak or, French oak, or Amberana has been a big thing recently, although I'm not a fan of that, but it certainly imparts a unique flavor. Is there any wood that we should be on the lookout for that you guys have done some experiments with, and then all of a sudden we're going to start seeing some things finished in a particular type of wood that maybe we just as bourbon fans haven't heard of yet? There's
all kinds of great woods out there. The acacia family has some really nice, offerings. Kingswood, leopard's wood, even things like eucalyptus. You wouldn't think it would be, anything great, but it puts out some really good flavors. I think to this point, we've tested out about 55 different wood species that are not oak.
Okay.
Cool. The problem is that most of these woods are not what we call, or what the FDA would call, generally regarded as safe.
Okay.
So that process is, I've told, about $200,000 and then multiple years of waiting for approval. So, yeah, the problem is that there's all kinds of great woods out there, and you probably won't hear about them because nobody wants to pay that kind of money. Right. So that's how that works. It has to be tested. Like I'm a distillery owner. I'm listening. I'm like, ooh, leopard wood. I think I could do something with that. There's a process to get that sort of wood approved by the government to finish a bourbon in. Yeah, and I never want to. Really, no. You could go ahead and toast up some leopard wood and put it in some whiskey, and it's not going to hurt anybody. But if it's not if you don't do your testing, and it is perfectly safe, but you open yourself up to some risks, right? By doing that, and most of the bigger companies, and actually most companies to begin with, tend to be risk adverse. So that's why you don't hear. There's a lot of research goes into it. That's why you don't hear most of it, is because it's just a little bit more of a risk than most people want to take.
How does the eucalyptus, how does that taste with bourbon in it?
It's really sweet. It puts off some really nice kind of.
Like herbal?
No, it's not, and that's the weird part because you would think.
I think it would go better with rye, right? The herbal notes you get in rye.
Well, yeah, but you would think it would taste like eucalyptus, and it really doesn't. Once you give it like an 18-hour toast, it comes out actually pretty sweet, little astringent, but yeah, I mean it's. I'm not going to say it's going to be my everyday whiskey, but it's definitely going to be a once in a while whiskey conversation starter for sure.
Yeah, that could be good. That one I would think they could use. I mean, I just because one of my other hobbies is barbecue, and you can get eucalyptus wood that you can use in your smoker and stuff like that. So, I mean,
speaking of tasting notes, Jen showed me something funny the other day. It was she was at vodka tasting, and I guess they had some tasting notes up on a screen or a piece of paper or something like that. And I was like, it's minty green and herbally coconut, hints of lemongrass. And I was like, shouldn't that be illegal?
Right.
But as it turns out, they reversed all that language in the standards of identity back in 2020 for vodka.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that. I always thought it had to be neutral, odorless,
flavorless, and void of color, or whatever that language was. Yeah, apparently that got set back.
Okay.
Back in 2020.
Really? Didn't know that.
I didn't know either.
Last question I got. Again, this would be just you're a bourbon fan. You have the cool job, and is there a favorite warehouse that you have? That's like, oh man, we've done some experiments, and this, like I'm thinking, like Coy Hill at Jack Daniels or something like that. Is there one that stands out to you? And I know like Four Roses fans are really into. Well, what warehouse is that from? Is there something that you've seen that you felt is really a standout warehouse for aged whiskey?
No, I mean, there's some general guidelines and kind of rules of thumb that we've noticed. I mean, I think. For all, I think the one that's going to have the most utility is probably going to be a 20 to 25,000 barrel warehouse.
Okay.
The 50,000s, they age too slow.
Mm-hmm.
The bourbons, in my opinion, don't get as sweet. They just can't develop the pressure swings to get back into like the vanillin layers. It just takes a little while longer. But I mean, for me, a 25,000, 20,000 barrel warehouse, something like that seems to be, kind of what puts off, my ideal 8 to 12-year-old bourbon.
Yeah.
They're not, it's there's a lot of barrels, but it's not so much to where you're not getting any cycling whatsoever. It can take a month, if not longer, for those floors to kind of get the whiskey to the temperature that the atmosphere is.
Gotcha.
So there's quite a bit of lag, kind of thermal lag there. So the less mass you have, the better. And I think, you get up in the big ones and it's just too much. Now, as far as like, warehouse H or warehouse C over at Wild Turkey up on the hill, I don't have enough experience, but about as specific as I can get is probably smaller the better. Okay. At least for, kind of my 8 to 12-year-old whiskey that I like to drink.
Okay.
What about like the coolest warehouse, like all over the world?
Yeah.
Like, you've been to Ireland, Scotland.
Man, I tell you, some of the coolest warehouses that, I've heard they make fantastic whiskey, and maybe if you guys have driven by them, the ones in Deatsville.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Those monitor, style. I think those warehouses are pretty cool. And then Woodinville has got some really cool warehouses.
Really?
So,
okay.
They're kind of out in the middle of this, big open field. And the way that they do their barrels is they've got this automatic ricker that goes up and down the aisle, and it'll automatically raise up, automatically clock the barrel, and then it'll kind of roll over to one side or the other, and it just shoots the barrels down the rick. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
Dancing Goat's got a pretty cool one, don't they? You've been in that, I assume.
Yeah, they do. The other one that's, kind of, it's more impressive than, it doesn't really count. That's more of like a whole operation. But some of the size of these palletized houses in like Canada are just, the operation is just pretty impressive to see, although it's not, really very cool. But those monitor style warehouses they have over Deatsville, I think those things are just awesome looking.
Yeah. Anybody else? Any questions for Andrew?
Yeah, I do. Andrew, during COVID, actually, everyone was wanting to make bourbon, and you guys were doing everything just to keep up with everything. Obviously, you've caught up, it sounds like.
Yep.
Where do you see the industry focusing on getting back to the basics, I guess, with the regular chars, or is the experiment still going to keep taking precedent?
Yeah, I think I don't think there's so much competition out there that it kind of keeps these guys from going back, to the basics. So, right now we're actually, we're more busy with innovation than we were at COVID. During COVID, everything was going a million miles an hour, and it seemed like innovation was kind of last. They were just trying to keep up. Just give me the char 4, give me the char 3, give me the char 4, give me the char 3. We'll figure it out later. Now where there is a little bit of a glut in spirits, a lot of the producers are trying to come up with something captivating, something that hadn't been done before, to kind of re-energize interest, and get some bottles moving. So for right now, I think, the innovation is going to continue to kick up for quite some time. And, past that, I hope it keeps on going because I kind of like what I do. I don't want to, yeah, I don't want to get kicked to the curb there.
Yeah. Well, Andrew, always appreciate talking to you about this kind of stuff. Very cool information. Appreciate you sharing what's going on and what we should be on the lookout for. We'll wrap this one up as we always do by talking about where people can find us. Jen, we'll start with you. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram. It's always sunny_76.
All right, Luke.
You can find Santa Fe Boutique Wines on Instagram and find me on LinkedIn.
All right, Wiehebrink.
You can find me on Instagram, Andrew_NIN_Kentucky. Andrew in Kentucky.
All right, Miss Beka Sue.
You can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at Miss Beka Sue, 1K, no C's.
All right, for me, I'm an easy guy to find at Steve Akeley, Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. I've got a website, steveakeley.com. We've also got a company website, abvnetwork.com. Check that one out. Everything that we do is out there, previous shows, blogs, so much more, abvnetwork.com. And come by and see me, the ABV Barrel Shop. We're always getting new barrels in. I think we're getting 3 this week. So it's the gift that keeps on giving, barrel picks. Come by and see us. We did 74 last year through 1,000 square feet, and I think we're going to be about 85 this year, so we'll see how it plays out. So follow us online, abvbarrelshop.com. Miss Beka Sue, anything else to say before we get out of here?
I'd just like to remind the audience to please give us a 5-star review that includes comments. It helps new people find the show, which is very important to us. If you like what we're doing, we ask you please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/the ABV Network.
Great job today, gang. For audience, we have a brand new show for you tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Until then, take care, everybody. See ya.
Bye.
Later.
Peace. Before we let you go, let's talk about one last thing. The ABV Barrel Shop in the St. Louis community of Arnold, Missouri. The ABV Barrel Shop is focused on a couple of things. First of all, single barrels. We are the place where single barrels live. We go to distilleries, taste through the whiskey, select the best barrel, and have it shipped to our store where we present it to you, our customers, by allowing you to try before you buy. We're also known for the classes that we have in our education center in the store, as well as the events we have with industry professionals from the bourbon business. If you are in the St. Louis area, please come by and visit us at 6 Fox Valley Center in Arnold, Missouri. Or at a minimum, at least sign up for our email and text distribution so you know exactly what's going on in our shop over at abvbarrelshop.com. This is Steve Akeley, owner of the ABV Network, signing off. We thank you for listening to our programming and truly appreciate your support.
The Bourbon Daily is part of the ABV Network. For more information or to become a sponsor, please visit abvnetwork.com. Thanks for listening and cheers.
This has been a Steve Akeley production.